here just in case we say something important. So, so anybody done anything astronomy wise using telescopes? Mike, what you been doing?
Well, we had a very light turnout for International Observe the Moon night. It was just me and one other person. So
where were you when you did that?
At the observatory, the Windy Skies Observatory, overlooked by Bob, our resident alien. And
let me explain to Ron what that is. That the Windy Cities Observatory is in Mike Chibnik's backyard, and Bobby's talking about is an alien that's he's named it Bob.
It's a full-size gray. My wife picked up at the Pottery Barn in Auburn, California. She didn't tell me how much it cost, but
I didn't understand. Full-size gray? What did you say?
A gray is a technical term for the typical gray alien with the big head and the big eyes.
Big eyes.
Yeah, it's taller than my wife is.
Well, I hope you're open for the trick-or-treaters in a little more than a week.
The youngest trick-or-treaters around here are 55.
Oh, okay. Well, trick-or-treating's gonna play out. Great.
Because we live in Trilogy.
Are you doing a gated community then?
Yes, but do not call it a compound.
Okay, yeah.
It ticks certain people off, and don't say it's an old person's place, because that ticks people off. Yeah.
We
haven't bought a Lexus yet, have you? Two of our members have.
No, Tesla.
We would like to call
Tesla,
it a place
not
where
Lexus.
the gracefully decrepit people are slightly, going down the tubes. But
You can't remember anything, right? Like right now?
yeah, I know.
You got the CRS syndrome.
Oh, well, Taylor Swift was singing a song, and my wife says, I really like that song. And we were on our way from Rio Vista. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. From Rio Vista to there. And we could not remember the doggone song. We had done our shopping for, there's Bob with a socially responsible mask. And it was only on the way back that I kind of shouted out Taylor Swift, that happens a lot. So,
Is that your telescope?
that is the famous COVID junkoscope. That's a 14.5-inch reflector that I started when I was still with you guys, and I got it polished, but I couldn't figure it because the tuna can by the sea was too shaky for testing.
I remember that.
I was in a mobile home, and the floors were bouncy. And so when lockdown happened, I had suddenly all this time because there was no social things going on, and I finished it off star testing it. And you might ask, well, why didn't I use my Foucault tester? Well, because the only place I could put the mirror was on the wall on this very sturdy rack. And when the wind's coming, it was just shaking everything up. I couldn't get a reliable readings because it was shaking. So I did it by star testing, and even in like 20-mile-an-hour winds or whatever, held up like that on the chair looking at due north. I star tested on Polaris over the course of about 2 or 3 months.
Hey, Mike, is it true that the glass you used for that 14-inch mirror that came from a porthole on a ship?
Yes, and it was given to me by Mike, the other Mike who moved back east. And he actually was very good friends with Mel Bartels at the time, and they both were the ones that kind of made off with like about 100 pounds of glass or something like that. So I still have a bunch of
Big mirror.
14.5. Yeah, but
Well,
it
I meant
only
100
weighs
pounds.
what?
100 pounds. That's big.
Well, no, that was just sheets of
Multiple
glass.
discs, yeah, right.
Well, the porthole is really thin. How does it stand up, and how does it keep its shape as the telescope moves
It's all
around?
in the mounting.
That's right. It's 6 points, and with Plop, it says it's okay.
Okay.
Plop is the program that you can test. So the scope looks the way it does because it was made out of scrap pieces of wood and other things I found in the garage because everybody was too scared to go out to the Home Depot. And so, that's scrap plywood. The mirror cell is made out of scrap metal from a shipping container for some patio furniture that we had, some gator foam, that's the black stuff. And the only things that I didn't make was the focuser and the diagonal mirror that I had used on my 10-inch. So
Are
it
you going to
worked out.
paint the inside black?
It's not going to stay this way for long, and the inside is black. It is now black. That's when I was star testing it, so I didn't really need to do it. There's more baffling in with its thin black poster board that I slide in the back there that goes above and below it to give better baffling. And I have used this at a couple of outreach meetings.
Mike, you're saying you actually carried that somewhere outside your house?
Yeah, we the box itself doesn't weigh that much. It probably weighs about 35 pounds without the mirror. Okay, it's just cardboard, and the other thing, the mirror itself weighs only about 10 pounds because it's only 3/4 of an inch thick. And so you guys saw me bring it in when the last time, so I've got another disc that I'll probably do. But what I alluded to before, since the mirror is so light, if I make the bottom of the telescope super light, I can move the pivot point up higher such that you're not practically on your belly when you're trying to look at a planet up here, because the eyepiece is so low to the ground. At the very least, you're on your knees looking at planets. So if I can, the idea is, if I can move the bounce point up much higher, then that eyepiece is not going to move very much at all. And I won't need an observation chair. And the reason for that was at one of the star parties at Trilogy, some gal was trying to look at the planet, and she tried to adjust the observation chair, and she fell off in the dark on the ground.
Oh,
Yeah. So if I bring it up to where you just stoop a little bit, because the eyepiece really isn't that high, that it becomes something that both kids and people could use without a ladder. And that's the reason why for the f3.9 focal ratio was, I didn't want a ladder. So it's going to look a little bit different. I just have to get around to it. I've got other projects which I can tell you about.
Hold on for a second. I just want to explain to Ron what that f3.9 means focal length wise.
He said 2.9.
3.
Oh, it's 3.
2.9.
Yeah,
Okay,
I thought I
good.
said 3, but
I heard it wrong,
I'm getting
sorry.
old and that.
Yeah.
Okay, and Ron, 3.9, just let's call it 4, focal length of 4 means your mirror size is, say, 14 inches. And so your focal point is 4 times 14 inches, 56 inches.
Yeah, it's about 56 inches focal
So
length.
so that you get all this light coming into your 14-inch mirror, and then there's a cone. It since it's parabolically shaped, that it forms a cone that hits the mirror in the middle here, flat mirror, and then the cone continues to your eyepiece over here. And so that total length of between here, the mirror, between the focuser and the diagonal mirror in here, and the mirror down here, that total is 56 inches. So that'd be an f4 focal length for that telescope.
Right.
Hopefully I got that right.
Yeah, but it's about 3.95. Originally, I really wanted it to be like f4.5, but I just wound up with that. And
If you, Mike, if you put a coma corrector on there from Teleview, you'll get your f4.5.
Yep.
Oh,
Do you have another
how-
telescope inside that unit there?
Yes, I do have a C11 and a 90 millimeter Nigres on a Misu mount that I do my imaging with.
Right,
And-
they're not made of cardboard.
No, no, it's made out of steel and let me just say, it's a little bit tight in there. You guys probably have another image of it inside, but the Misu has a very long counterweight bar, and if it's in the wrong position, you literally have to crawl underneath the bar to get inside. It's pointing towards the west.
What
And
diameter is your dome?
it's 8 feet, 2
Okay,
meters. And if it was in a square building on the tracks, okay, it would be really nice. But since the door is kind of low and there's not much room, especially with the C11 and the Misu. The Misu is a brood of a German equatorial mount. And yeah, yeah, see, that's the scrap stuff that I made it out of, scrap plywood and 2x4s, it works. I mean, so
Just wanted to get to your
yeah.
observatory.
Okay, well, there was a picture of it, but
The observatory?
no, that's the right there inside. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, that's
There
the
was a
pier.
leak going on at that point, huh?
Oh, yeah. One thing about the NexDome domes is material does not stick to anything, or I should say, caulking does not stick to it. And so I used green board plywood on there, and I was getting the dome and the rest of the observatory never leaked, but it was coming underneath. And so basically what I've done is, like, how in The Fifth Element, where Bruce Willis, starts shooting around the floor and they fall down through there because there's so many holes. I've got a bunch of holes around there that now drain all the water before it has a chance to get in.
Deep holes.
Yeah. Anyway,
but your mounts are mounted to the concrete, right?
no,
not to-
it's resting on the concrete, and I need to do something about that. And the reason is we didn't know whether it was going to be permanent or not. And my wife does not like holes in concrete that she can see. So I'm probably what I'm going to do later on is pour some concrete, like several hundred pounds a square, and sink that in there and just rest it on top of the concrete on like a rubber gasket or something like that to keep
Back
the
when I grew up
vibration.
in the South, that's what would have been a great storm cellar.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, there's a picture. There it is right there. You got the picture. That's with my 8-inch. The 11-inch is much bigger. So actually, if you don't catch the counterweight going in, you will catch the C11 because it's the mount's got a lot of offset from it.
So you have both scopes in there?
Oh, it's a wedge or no?
No, it's
No,
a
it's not a
German
wedge.
equatorial mount. No, it's
Yeah.
equivalent of a wedge.
yeah, right.
What's the blue foam for? Is that so you don't hurt yourself?
Yes, after a few scars have healed over, yeah. And for
Now,
a while,
is this a C11?
no, this is a C8 on this picture. This
Okay.
is the original picture. The C11, it just looks a lot bigger. And so now on there is a QHY 410 camera. And well, this is something important for you guys to remember, okay, getting a new camera, because I learned this the hard way. And I had, luckily, I had loyalty points to make it less painful. The new CCD cameras have a certain distance from the chip to the window, okay? And the new off-axis guiders are designed to be very thin, okay? And so the distance from the off-axis guider to your eyepiece is very important, because this distance needs to be exactly I'm trying to do it, this distance to your sensor, okay? So there's not much distance. And so what they don't tell you, even though they spec the window to sensor distance on all the auto guiders and the cameras, is the fact that the new off-axis guiders are designed for cameras that slip inside the focuser to bring the image closer to the pickoff prism. And so I discovered that the first night I was trying to use my new off-axis guider, and I go, hey, this is not even coming in focus close. And so I did with a vernier caliper and determined it's about 40 millimeters too high. I need to get that lower, need the auto guider to get 40 millimeters lower. And so I went through all the calculations and, you know, okay, you can see here the stack up and all that. And they determined, hey, it only works out if it fits inside here all the way down close to the pickoff. So the moral of the story is that for you guys who've been getting away with the pancake auto guiders for all these years, it's not going to work with a new off-axis guider, with the exception of one, the Orion, which is designed to screw into their Starshoot auto guider. It's the only one that will do that. So you'll need to get one that fits inside the thing there. Luckily, I had, yeah, see, that's the pancake. See, now that, okay, that one's designed for it. Okay, but the QHY is not. And I went with QHY because I didn't want to have to screw around with adapters. That's interesting. So you can see Orion and all that. Yeah. Yeah, that's the QHY. And the reason why I went with QHY, because it's designed to fit on their camera, you know. So I bought a ZWO 120 auto guider, which fits inside the focuser. I've got to get it. And luckily with my loyalty points, I only paid about half price for it. So, you know, but that's something.
So you spent a lot of money there.
Oh yeah.
You got to spend money to get loyalty points, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Why don't you just get a guide scope?
Because of FlexShare, I've been fighting FlexShare.
Huh.
Because I've been trying to get, like, for the longest time, I've only been using 3-minute exposures, 2-minute exposures. And with the longer exposures, there seems to be FlexShare.
Huh.
So,
Doesn't that seems like a solvable problem? I mean,
so that's just something that you have to, you know,
Huh.
just be cognizant about, is the, you know, the back focus, the total back focus from the prism to the sensor, and from the prism to the auto guider. And yeah.
That's a filter wheel on there.
Looks like, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oshkosh filter wheel.
Okay, but you can see there that they that's been designed, and it has, okay, it has a spacer, a long spacer, so that you get equivalent focus between the yeah.
Yeah, why do they call it off-axis guider when it's actually looking right down the tube at the star. I guess it's not
Not
in
on
the
the
middle.
optical axis.
Yeah, you're
It's-
not on the optical, you're at a
That's-
right angle.
Yeah, the right angle prism's off to the side. It's out, so supposedly out of the field of view of the sensor. But you
Oh,
can see here, you know, and I think the reason why they did that, if you look down below and you that QHY astrographic, or you know, down below the next sensor below, those are pretty long packages. And I think the reason why they wanted to make things so thin is there's a lot hanging out of there. Okay. And when you add a USB port, which comes straight out, which
Mhm.
adds another inch or two.
The big
Okay.
lever arm.
Well, it's big lever arm and somebody can bang into it.
Yep.
And in the case of my observatory, it's I have to watch out that I don't lean back too much when I'm imaging towards the north, because my seat's to the south. So I think that's the reason why, you know, and also from vignetting too. You make things thinner in front, you don't have the problem with vignetting with fast focal ratios.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can see right there where it's right on there, but yeah, QHY guide cam. Okay, yeah. So obviously this is an older picture, but that's, I just, you know, I just realized it when I was doing the measurements. And I think then another thing too is they're going away from the, if you go up, just scroll up a little bit the other way. Well, hold a second, right there, where that Celestron telescope is, okay? Old 35 millimeters or DLSRs, they don't have the issue where if you have a pancake imager and it bangs against the case, okay? But if you have something like an S-Big camera or something like that, which is big and square, okay, that case is going to go up much further, and you'll have interference between the pancake and off-axis guider and the case of the telescope. So I guess there was several reasons why they decided that they wanted to go with the smaller imagers. So I was using my 178, and yeah, well, there's looks like a star shoot in the other part, and you can see where it clears it. Now, obviously, that's an older picture because that looks like a Rebel Canon Rebel camera. So, you know, it's just something to think about when you do that. And you know, I've been in contact with Farah, and I told her, you know, this is the reason why I'm buying the camera. You know, she asked, and she goes, you know, it makes sense. I'm telling my guys to ask those questions before the customers purchase anything, because it is kind of important.
who did you mention? What name did you mention?
Farah, she runs Woodland Hills Camera. For some reason, I didn't get my loyalty points to my with my camera, and so I go, don't I get loyalty points? And somehow it didn't get into their system. So yeah, so if you take a look there, hold it a second, you know, there, whoops, going too fast.
I'm sorry, I
There's
went back to the top.
new pencil guiders, you know, they almost look like an eyepiece and fit in there. And so that sensor is really at the bottom of that cavity, right next to as close to the prism as possible. And so all the, I guess, the new guiders, and it makes for a more compact thing. The other thing I'll tell you about is with the NexDome situation. What I wound up doing was contacting the guy who writes the firmware for their electronics, and asked him some questions because of the fact I had two problems. One was the shutter motor wasn't working with the system because it wasn't getting communications, and the other was that I had calibrated things out, and the dome was more or less working fairly good, but not good enough back about a month or two ago before I stopped using it. Yeah, there's the dome rotator. Okay, so in that box is the dome rotator, the motor, and a Zigbee radio that goes to the shutter mechanism, which has another Zigbee radio, and they communicate. And the reason is that the shutter motor has no electrical connections at all, like over at the college. It runs independently remote control, and so it requires RF communications, and it stopped. So I wrote to the guy who happens to be in England, and he actually came back, and we've been conversing, and come to find out that that controller in the dome rotator was forgetting certain parameters I used to calibrate the dome position, okay, which was not apparent on the ASCOM hub. And so basically what you wind up having to do, which is I don't think such a great thing, is you have to jump out of ASCOM dome, the hub, and use the serial connection. It's a USB to serial internal connection, and do some calibration control sequences to do it. And once I did it, actually the dome, it was last night, the dome was behaving almost perfectly with respect to the telescope. It was maybe intruding just about 1 or 2 inches on the C11, even though it's offset and all that. So I have a little tweaking to do. It started working really well. But the issue is that with those controllers that they use Arduino. I guess they have an issue with forgetting stored parameters in their. They have some electrically erasable memory where you store certain parameters to make everything remember what it's supposed to be. And so actually today, Babek finally got back to me and said, well, why don't you just send your the unit back for an update of hardware? And so I wrote back and says, that sounds really great. I didn't realize you wanted me to do that. And I checked back in my emails, and sure enough, he made no mention of that. I did put that in the email, and so I'm starting the process to send back the dome motor and the other one. And supposedly with the new controller, there should not be any problems with the communications. And two, the accuracy of the dome rotation should be within a tenth of a degree, which would make things a lot better.
Yeah.
There you go.
Now, does that motor for the dome rotation, is it mounted on the stationary part of the observatory, or is it on the
Yes.
dome as well? Okay, good. That's good, because
It's on a track.
yeah. See, I noticed that the one that I'm hopefully going to get, the Explorer Dome, their motor is mounted on the dome. And I thought, well, gee, many Christmases, how many things are you going to hang off of that dome? If you ever get to shutter control, then you're going to have to put all that stuff on there too. So,
Well, it might be independently. A lot of domes, they have the electrical track that goes in parallel with the slit, and so the motor's there, and so you basically, there's a lot of sliding contacts. If you take a look at the one at the college, they've got the AC electrical running all around there, AC voltage, which is not very safe, but
Which college are you talking about, Mike?
um,
Westmont?
Westmont, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Most
this
of
stuff
the
is all 12 volt, right?
Yeah,
Or-
yeah, this is 12 volts.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a big battery in there. There's a charger you can see right there.
Mhm.
So the only thing that you really need to do if you're not going to use things for a long time, you take that little plug out in case power goes out. That little plug goes to I found out, doesn't go to the battery. It goes to the controller. And so you disconnect that so you don't have to worry about the fact that if you disconnect power to the observatory, you don't run down the battery, you don't
Oh,
crash the battery.
oh yeah. Yeah, because that'll still be going. Yeah.
Yeah. The one thing that they did add recently is a voltage protection that I mean, not voltage protection, voltage detection, I should say. If the battery voltage goes below a certain level, it'll automatically close before you lose all power. Because trying to close it,
With motor
without
in there
electrical
doing
power,
it manually, yeah, there ain't no way.
no, well, first of all, you have to take it apart because
Oh,
there's that toothed wheel there connected to
yeah,
the,
you have to disengage it.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay, so
boy.
that was one smart move that they did.
Now on the shutter, is it 2 control loops or just one control loop for that? Because like on the on the Explorer Dome, they've got 2 sections on the shutter, a bottom and a top. Yours has only got one.
It's
one
got,
thing?
it's a 2-section
Oh,
shutter
2-section
that
shutter,
goes
okay.
over the
So
top.
that's 2 control loops. Yeah.
Oh, no,
Oh.
it's basically you're pushing the upper part over and then the bottom
Oh, it's
part
kind of like
slides
this.
inside.
Okay, so it's going like that. Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
At the same time. Okay.
So if they fix that, I'll be in business because I would like to be able to get out of that observatory on some really cold nights and not have to worry about where the scope is pointed and where's the shutter.
And the shutter is controlled too, as well as the dome. So you
It's
have
controlled via
both of
the
them.
ASCOM hub. Yeah,
Okay.
the ASCOM
Cool.
hub controls 4 things. It controls, I mean, it uses your planetary or your telescope control program to get the azimuth. Then it controls the rotation. It controls the shutter, and then it also is connected to the focuser. So because those are all the functions that you need when you operate the telescope.
Mhm.
And I think most brands have that type of capability. Oh, and in addition, supposedly this has a weather and a rain sensors to close things up. It's not without certain issues, but I've been trying to get this to operate that. I mean, to operate so that I'm not stuck out there all night. And there's been certain things I wanted to do where I just wouldn't be able to stay up all night. Just let the telescope run and shut the shutter at the end. I mean, there's been a couple times I've left the Mizu out or whatever scope out in Simi Valley and gone in and gone to sleep and hoped that the auto guide are still working and no rain clouds have come, So, and,
Well, you don't have much danger of rain in Simi Valley. I think you may be different up there in Rio Vista.
Oh, Simi Valley had some rain,
Oh, do they?
significant rain. Oh, yeah. Yeah, but not often, mainly wind. Yeah, actually, we're supposed to be getting rain tonight again.
Yeah, you're going to get quite a storm up there, I understand.
I
Over
hope
the next
so.
4 or 5 days.
And
Yeah.
I hope it puts out any fires or dampens down any fires that are out there, so you guys don't get the smoke and we don't get the smoke, dependent upon the way the wind blows. How's the fire where you guys are now?
It's basically out.
Oh, great.
It's 95% contained.
Yeah, they've
Yeah.
lifted all the evacuation.
Yeah, they're sending everybody, all the firefighters home. The fire, basically the wind changed and it burned. It was burning east and then the wind changed and it
Oh, it
burned back
backburned.
over itself, and that pretty much put it out.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out how the fire started. It seemed like it started out of nowhere. And I heard a theory today that the lightning that came through like a week before may have started something smoldering, and then the high winds got that going as a fire. Has anyone heard anything different about how the
No,
fire
I
started?
haven't heard anything at all.
No, they said that it jumped the 101. Did it start
Yeah.
on the ocean side or the?
Yep.
Oh,
It started
did.
right at the crest of the West Camino Cielo, and then it burned down Alisal Canyon.
Okay, so it started in the mountains. It didn't start on
Yeah.
the ocean side of
No.
101. Okay.
But it went to the ocean. It jumped the 101 and the railroad tracks.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I missed that.
Mhm.
I
The
don't
last
miss
big
it.
fire, when it came down to the 101 and actually burned a lot of the structure for the railroad tracks,
Yeah.
they had to
And for the-
replace it.
And for the freeway, all the bump guardrails were held up by,
Oh, yeah, I
wood-
got pictures of
wood
them. They're all
beams.
droopy and drippy.
yeah, they had to
Yeah,
replace
they
them all.
melted. Yeah.
For some reason, when I was, working and being with you guys, it seemed like we had a fire every year, a major fire in Santa Barbara,
Mm.
and I had come after that other fire that, came close to Tom Whittemore's house, that, killed people and burned down a lot of people's
Mhm.
places too. And so when I heard about this fire, I go, well, it can't be any more to burn. There's been so many,
No.
fires, And so,
Oh no, we've got a lot more hillsides yet to go.
that's encouraging.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Doesn't show the Thomas fire.
right. Yeah. But, this is happening more and more. A lot more people are moving out into the mountains, You go East Mountain Road and you've got all these mansions now along there. Which kind of natural disasters, talking about natural disasters, has anybody heard anything about La Palma Observatory in the Canary Islands? Is that where
It was on a separate island from the
Yeah.
volcano.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, that's about it from here. I haven't had a time to use my interferometer. I'm looking over at it right now.
Have you finished it?
Oh yeah, it's finished.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's ready to use. I just need to go and clear out some area in the garage to set up the mirrors. And so the first two mirrors I'm going to test is my 14.5-inch one. And then I'm going to test Tom Whitmore's 3.5 mirror, or the short 10-inch mirror.
Yeah.
He gave me, and I was going to see what type of shape it was in and determine whether what I should do to finish that mirror, because I'm thinking that might be a decent mirror for not just visual but for wide angle astrophotography. Mount that side on the other side of my MikeC mount, that could give me some, a good universal type of a thing.
Uh-huh.
So
It's going to require pretty dark skies to use a real wide angle camera.
yeah, I know. Well, we'll see. However, H alpha oxygen filters and the like will help,
Yes,
and
they
so
will.
that's you know, when you think about it, objects that are that big are usually emission nebula, very rarely a white light when you think about it. I could be wrong, but I mean, the only thing I can think of that big would be like M33 or, you know, the Andromeda Galaxy when you get down to it. Well, I've been hogging up the time, but
So that's all right.
Okay.
Good information. Hey,
Yeah.
Ron, you need to review our meeting on Monday. Did you take a look at the YouTube meeting?
No, I can't watch myself. I'm sorry. I go.
Oh, you weren't there.
Oh, that's true. You're right. I did watch a little bit of it, and I
Yeah,
was busy shaking this damn laptop, and it was all due to a damn updating.
But Ron, what I wanted to mention is that go to the near the end of the program, and Jerry starts talking about how cameras work and electron hole pairs and stuff. So that's gets pretty interesting because Jerry's going to expand on that next week, I guess, or somewhere in the future.
Was that the special on photon detection?
yeah. Your
Is that-
challenge is to try and stay awake during that portion of the show.
Well, some of the stuff you missed, gentlemen, I mean, you might have some comments on Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds from NASA. 12, 13 years heading out to the Jupiter orbit for the Trojans.
Yeah.
I've learned a little by watching
yeah,
some.
that'll be in my 80s.
Oh, that's true. So will I.
It's not that far away.
You'll be doing-
I am
I
in
know
my
it's
80s.
it's that railroad. The train's coming along the track. Yeah. Well, also another interesting thing. Did you guys talk about the new theory of the formation of the moon, where
No.
they talk about the 1-2 punch?
No, haven't heard that.
Yeah,
I'm still reading on the big splat.
no, they think that there was this body that went just fast enough to whack into it and then come back another time. Richard, there's a link that Richard Berry had that went to his. There was several internet things going, and not to interject and take over the conversations. I did have a chance to go test out my Duncan mask. Okay. The alignment mask. Okay. Not the donut mask, the alignment mask where you put it on the SCT and you can check your alignment. And it seemed to work. You could tell. But Tom, try it. It did work.
Yeah, I bought that one that's a 3-piece mask
Yeah.
from Adino Optics, but
Yeah.
you made your own. It looks like there's other ways people make them, I guess.
Well, it's just the way of affecting the diffraction or whatever, near focus. Yeah.
Tom, I sent you some pictures of the from the Gaviota fire, June 2004, where the along the freeway there where all the signs had melted.
We're talking about the moon 1-2 punch. Here, let's see.
Well, it took me a little bit. Normally I can find things faster than I did this time. It's looking in the wrong place.
Planet, early Earth, iron cores merge, ejected
No.
material forms the moon.
That's the big splat version.
Yeah.
That's
There's a-
Thea that hit it.
Oh, while you're scrolling for it, I have information on the LAS telescope making convention. It's online, it's Zoom, and no charge. And if people want to see it, I'll send them the link to it. They have a bunch of speakers talking about telescope making. Richard Berry's going to have a talk on things. I actually have the agenda to show you if you want me to.
Sure. Want to share that?
Sure, let me go find it and I'll do it.
Just gonna keep looking here for the 1-2 punch. We have to type it out. This one's from Fry Electronics. That's pretty funny.
It must be a memory.
Oh, here's one. Oh, here it is. Here's the 1-2 punch. Space.com.
So what are
Not
the two
brand.
things that hit? Those look like two different versions of the first punch.
I think one is that it glanced first and then at a slow enough speed that it didn't blow everything apart, and then it came back for a second time.
Oh,
Well, this one shows, according to a new theory, there are two giant impacts in a row separated by 100,000 to 1 million years involving a Mars-sized body called Theia and proto-Earth. Proposed hit and run collision simulated in 3D, shown about an hour after impact. Okay, well, that's one collision. What about the second one? Yeah, I want to do video.
Produced our moon.
1-2 punch.
And I think the reason why they had it was because I think because of some samples brought back, I think the material was almost like identical to Earth. As I
yeah,
remember.
but the big splat thing tells that the moon is basically the blasted off Earth's crust, has almost no core. And that's pretty much it. The moon is made out of the Earth's crust mixed with
Yeah, it's
bits of soil
granite.
crust.
Mhm.
So,
But- Gentlemen, can I pose a question?
sure.
Is this something that we can only conjecture about and have illustrations, animation of? Because this is something we never see, is it? We see
Well,
super.
yes and no. What you do is you take,
Happen.
you model it like you see there. Those are computer models of a hit. And then you get predictable results. If that happened, then we should see compositions like this and stuff. And it accounts for a lot of stuff, but still there's things that aren't quite accounted for. So they're still expanding on the big splat theory to try and figure out why not everything that we see in the moon's composition, for example, and distribution of mass fits.
Yeah.
So they're trying to add things to the model until they get a good fit.
Plus,
So
bringing back samples will,
Yeah.
determine, with the isotopes and the makeup will, indirect collaborating evidence.
Right. So they run all these simulations until they get one that ends up with the results that we see the moon is.
I know that, but I'm saying we've never captured a real collision between two large bodies other than remnants of comets or
That's-
asteroids crashing
that-
into Jupiter. That's
Pretty
it.
much, that's pretty much true, but we have captured, it was a minor thing a few years ago. We either captured 2 asteroids hitting or 2 exoplanets hitting, but we captured it right after the event. So
In another
I think
solar, in another
it was
galaxy.
no, I think it was asteroids in our system.
Oh,
So, but they're rare events. The universe is quite old, and things that are going to hit really have already hit.
Which is a good thing.
Yes, it is a good thing. And the dinosaurs got in on the ground floor, but it didn't work out well for them.
No.
The thing was that when the solar system started, there were a lot of things running around, and they were all in unstable orbits. They came by each other and they got spun out into space and gone. Some of them got spun into the sun. Some of them collided. And the asteroid belt, of course, never formed. But it was much more of a shooting gallery type of thing
Right.
than it is now.
I
Okay.
see you have a new person who showed up. Patty, she disappeared.
Oh,
There she is.
oh, did I disappear?
No, you're here.
I
You're
see.
there.
Sorry, I just got an email that, anyway, and it linked to this Zoom meeting, and it said it was about telescopes. So I thought I would just see what you all are up to. I actually have inherited a telescope that I wanted to see if anybody was interested in helping me see if it was worth keeping. I think it's lost all the lenses anyway, so.
That's a bad sign.
Well, that's what I figure. That's the only valuable part of them, so.
What kind of
big
telescope
is
is
it?
it?
Well, it's right back here. Shall I pull it? Is this, I feel like I'm interrupting though, something
No.
that you.
No,
No, absolutely not.
no,
Okay.
we would ramble on otherwise.
Yeah,
you
that's
know.
what we're doing.
Yeah,
Just filling up the minutes here. We
Yeah.
got 25 left.
Uh,
Tom, I sent you 3 pictures of the Gaviota of June 2004 pictures that of the damage it did to the freeway and the railroad tracks.
That,
I saw some of that
Patty,
in the
that
Alisal
looks like
fire.
that looks like a Unitron. What name does it have on its side?
Meade, M-E-A-D-E.
Oh,
Okay, so that's from the 70s.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
that's right.
it looks like a 3-inch or
Yeah,
2.5
something like that.
inch.
2.4 or 3-inch, yeah.
Yeah,
So there's no, right where you're holding your hand there on the black part, there's no glass in there?
There's, yes, there is.
There is glass.
okay.
Okay, it's a
Just the
telescope.
eyepiece is missing. Look, missing eyepiece.
Yeah,
Right.
those are interchangeable. You should have those somewhere in a box or something.
Well,
they're not
these
usually-
people, they don't
That's all
have
you
them.
got. Okay.
Oh, that's
Well,
it.
I think we might have some an eyepiece or something we could give to you. Where are you located?
I'm in the Riviera up on Los Alturas.
Okay. Do you know what the diameter of the eyepiece would it be? Would it be less than an inch or would it be 1.25 inches?
Here, I happen to have a. It looks like the hole is a little less than an inch. The
Okay,
outside-
so that's 0.965
Long.
inch
Right.
Yeah.
eyepieces. I have a couple of those left over.
Might even have some too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
We
I've got
can- we
I've got
can-
a couple here.
yeah, we can
But it's-
send some to you.
looks like the finder scope is missing on it too. You've got it
Yeah.
pointed
At the floor.
down. Let's see here, it's got the.
It's
Looks
got a
like,
German equatorial mount.
yeah, it's got a German
Yeah.
equatorial mount, so, yeah.
That's good.
No motor
No motor.
on it, but that's okay. That would be fine for looking at the moon and some of the planets and some of the,
Yeah, Patty,
Fiber optic.
Patty, if you send an email to me at webmaster at sbau.org, org, webmaster at sbau.org. I can get in touch with you and we'll maybe we can get together, figure out what's good.
Okay.
I'm retired, so I'm available quite often.
That's so
So I can-
nice. I was going to also tell you that you all were fantastic. I'm a docent at the Santa Barbara Museum of Art. And before the pandemic, we had this exhibition called the Cosmos, something about the cosmos. And it was all about images of space and what have you. Anyway, one night, 3 or 4 from your organization came to the top floor of the parking lot behind the museum
Oh, yeah.
and let people look up at the stars. It was fantastic. It really just added a whole dimension to the show that was fantastic.
Oh,
So-
good. Glad you enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
I was there. Yeah.
Chuck was
Yes.
probably there. Chuck McPartlin, our outreach guy.
Yeah.
Can't remember. Tim Crawford was there.
It was
And,
great. And you had at least three different types of telescopes there. So people got a sense of
Mhm.
how they were different. And
I had to put a couple jackets over the light posts on the parking lot to try to cut down some of the light.
I happen to have an eyepiece here that'll fit your telescope. It's an
Oh,
18
good.
millimeter Unitron telescope eyepiece.
Oh,
That's not bad. 18's not bad.
18
and
millimeter. I can
Unitron's a
take,
high quality.
yeah, I can see what it's K18, so it's a Kellner type.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not bad. It's an average type eyepiece. I can take it over and drop it off at Tom's house and he can deliver it to you, or
Yeah, I'll
You got-
yeah, Patty, send me your information, phone number maybe, and get a hold of you and we can figure out how to get together. And do you have the information on the side of the telescope? Does it say like 400, 500 millimeters, or it
Oh.
probably didn't have a nameplate. Oh, there's a nameplate of some
There
sort.
you go.
Yeah. Okay, Meade model 285. And then it says D equals 60 millimeters. F equals 900 millimeters. 1/15.
okay. So that's an F15 2-inch diameter
Yeah.
telescope.
Yeah, yeah.
So that'll give you really good performance looking at the moon and the planets and stuff.
Oh, that would be fun.
yeah.
That sounds great.
Okay.
That would be
Yeah, we
great.
can give you a little bit of instruction, like how you're kind of supposed to align that up with one axis is supposed to kind of point to the North Star on that mount there. And then once you get it lined up a bit, then you just kind of tilt it as you go to, I'm not sure if there's little hand wheels there that you turn to make it turn or not. Looks there must be, I think.
Yeah, I'll bet there
are
are.
a lot of it can go in a lot of different directions. In fact, I was trying to figure out how to make this come up, and
It looks like the counterweight shaft is bent.
That's what I saw.
Yeah.
And so
I
you-
looked at that. And
that
it was
could be
like,
loose.
be
okay, yeah,
straightened
that's
before
gonna be
you
a
can-
problem. Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
It
you
may
can
just be
tighten it up.
loose.
Yeah.
it
you
might
can
be
tighten
loose.
it.
there's a screw still here that is not, it's not.
It's not-
holding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does
yeah,
it thread in?
tighten
Does
up.
it, can you turn it and make it tighten up?
I could, if I get my Phillips screwdriver out.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, you just, the whole shaft. The shaft is
screw
generally
it,
threaded on
screw
the
it,
end
yeah.
that goes into the scope.
Yeah, maybe it's not threaded,
Maybe
maybe
not.
it slips in,
I
Okay,
think
Yeah.
it
I
just
don't know.
slips. It's
Yeah,
not
it might-
threaded.
might
It
be
just-
bent.
It just slips in there.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
then it's
so you're
just gotta
missing
be-
the screw. It wouldn't
Yeah.
be a set screw, it'd be a long screw with a little knob on it.
It's just a Phillips.
Yeah, just somebody threw a 1/4 Phillips probably in there to
Oh, okay,
try to tighten down on it.
they probably
Well-
lost the,
Here, I mean, I think I can just loosen this up and try to get it there.
Yeah. It just came loose.
It was
Yeah.
dislocated.
Yeah. How did you get to how did you acquire the scope?
Well, I was talking about with these friends of ours about how it's not holding, so
Oh,
how we enjoy the hot tub at night looking at the stars, and I'm trying to teach myself the constellations. And they said, oh, we got a telescope for our honeymoon that we've never used. And
Uh-huh.
I said, I'll take it. And so this is what I
it's
got.
that.
Showed up.
Okay.
It's been
Okay.
under their bed for 15, 20 years, so.
Thing.
Oh my. Well,
Anyway.
hopefully
Oh, you
can
know
put
what?
Good use.
You know, Jerry, that there's an adapter to go from that 0.965 to 1.25 that you can actually stick in there for the, I'm not sure how well it would work for,
Probably
bit
gonna have a
more
focus
normal
problem.
lenses.
But you can't stick a bigger lens in a smaller hole.
You gotta get
Well,
video.
you can-
there's an adapter that there is an
Oh,
adapter.
Right, but
there's
you're
an
gonna have
adapter
a
that
focus
lets you
problem.
take.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not
it
gonna
goes-
work.
It goes from, this 0.965 will slip
Yeah.
in, and then you can put an 1.25 eyepiece in here.
Yeah, I've got
So-
one of those. The trouble is it extends the eyepiece out the back of the tube and you can't focus. It's too
focus
far
it.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus it
That'd be the problem.
compromises your field of view.
Yeah. The field of view is the other issue. Yeah.
So,
Still
yeah,
a
Patty,
couple
yeah,
eyepieces she'll get some use.
let me know, webmaster@sbau.org. My name is Tom Tot. You can see on my window there. and see what we can do for you to get you going.
Oh, that's so nice.
I might even
Well,
have a finder scope that might might be too small, but maybe it fits. I can't tell quite the size.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's one of those universal, it doesn't look like it's a universal mount on the finder.
Just try not to put things down the tube.
Well,
Don't
Well, if
drop
it's
it.
been under the bed and there's been no eyepiece in it, it's probably got dust inside of it.
One would think,
Yeah, it needs to be cleaned, I'm sure.
Yeah,
yeah.
Needs a little physical maintenance, mechanical maintenance, but we
yeah.
can get that thing going.
Well, I figured either you were a group that couldn't be bothered or that you would find this interesting and a challenge.
It's interesting.
We have a
Well,
lot of interesting things around that sometimes we never finish, but for people who have their own telescopes, want to get them going, then we'll give it a try.
Yeah.
As
And-
my daughter, when she was 3, she's 53 now, used to say, very interesting, very interesting.
I wonder where she picked that up from.
I don't know.
So
Let's
what do
see.
you usually talk about on your Tuesday nights?
It gets pretty deep into like astrophotography and using telescope setups and control, and yeah, but we like projects like this too. So
Mhm.
That's great.
And
before,
telescope making, so
Yeah.
it's kind of right in with what you're doing there with the
Yeah.
telescope making.
yeah, but the way most of us join this particular group is making telescope mirrors from scratch. And then it morphed into something else afterwards.
So you made the mirrors, you polished the,
Grind, polish,
Yeah.
figure,
Mhm.
test, and then build into telescopes.
wow.
Dick, how's your I'm sorry, your sciatica doing?
You know, it's doing an awful lot better.
We talk about non-astro things too.
Yeah, we talk
He
about
was
our
very-
ailments. I have a bunch of geezers here, but it's really doing well. What I've been doing is I've been making some lifestyle changes by staying on my back, because that's what they say is the best thing is to get on your back, flat on your back. That's what settles it down. So I'm even changing my sleeping habits to include that. I haven't quite got there because I'm a side sleeper, and they say that's the worst thing for sciatica. So I've been doing that, and it's been having a great effect. You know, it's almost like putting your back in a natural traction mode when you do that, because I've got kind of an arched spine, and you lay down on a flat surface like that. I got my legs propped up, and it's quite comfortable. It really does ease the pain quite a bit.
Mhm.
I mentioned last week about prednisone.
Uh-huh.
You know, my doctor prescribed it was a little package you took. On the first day, you took 6 pills. The next day, you took 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, none. So it was a 6-day course, and it took my sciatic nerve inflammation from being really, really painful to gone.
Wow.
6
Wow.
days.
You know, I had that thing too. And my doctor said, do you carry a wallet in your back pocket? And I said, yeah. And he said, well, don't do that anymore.
Yeah, I
So
don't do
took-
that either.
I took that out and my pain went away in a week.
Oh
And
my
it's never
word.
come back.
It's just one little thing like that.
Yeah,
can
because I was
mess you
sitting
up.
on it wrong. But anyway, going back to astronomy, we make our own telescopes. And this picture behind me is a picture I took through the telescope I made.
Sorry.
This picture here.
And what is that picture of, Jerry?
It's of the Galaxy and Triangulum, the M33.
Messier 33.
Yeah. You can see the red things there, like there. Those are nebula in that galaxy, like the Orion Nebula in our galaxy.
Now, did you shoot that? Did you just use no filters or anything when you shot that? Or
This particular one, I used a DSLR camera, Canon something, probably a 40D or something at that time. And I use a lot of filters, but when I'm in my backyard, but I don't use any filters when I'm away at CalStar. And I don't remember which place I took this picture. So I can't tell you about filters. Filters,
What telescope was that on?
that was a 10-inch f5 Newtonian I made.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's pretty similar to the one that I took with my scope.
Uh-huh.
It's
Hey,
pretty.
Patty, here's a thing about constellations I like to pass on. Do you know how many keys are on a full-size piano?
I'm not a piano.
88.
Okay, so Bruce knows 88. Now, Patty, do you know how many teeth that a common bottlenose dolphin has?
88.
Very
No.
good, very good. So, Patty, do you know how many official constellations there are that cover the night sky?
88.
That's right.
Got it.
You're a quick study.
That's a pretty good way to remember it all, though.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's kind of funny that the number of keys on a piano match the number of constellations. Somebody must have set that up. I don't know.
Well, in case the lady doesn't know, Triangulum, Mr. President, is a smaller sub-galaxy that orbits our galaxy. It's out there, one of the minis.
No, it's not orbiting ours. It's part of what's called the local group.
Local group.
And Andromeda and this one, M33, and a couple other ones are in the same local group. And they are actually blue shifted, although the blue color here is not due to the shift. But they are closing. The distance between us and these galaxies is decreasing. We're not expanding here locally. And at some point, the Andromeda galaxy, M31, is going to merge with our galaxy in about, 5 billion years?
Oh, boy.
And so don't rush out to sell your home, because and they're going to call people are making up names for the resulting galaxy. They call it a Milkomedia.
But Triangulum is smaller than Milky Way.
No, they're similar size. They're still working on the size of the Milky Way. It's gone from being 100,000 light years across to being 1 million light years across recently.
Stars have also got up to well over a billion now.
Yeah, and but the outer reaches of it are not. Most of the stars are in 100,000 light years. Most of the stuff going out beyond it are stragglers and gas. They're
Well,
just
they
getting
did the
better
same
at
thing to
finding it.
our galaxy. It used to be 100,000 light years across, and now they think it's 200,000 light years across.
Oh no, that's what I was talking about. Our galaxy.
Oh, okay.
They think it's 1 million
I thought you
now.
were talking about Andromeda. Okay.
No, Andromeda's about similar. 100,000.
Andromeda, I think, is the big one, though.
Yeah, it's the biggest, nearest one, the
It's
brightest.
the local great attractor, as they call
Yeah.
it.
So this local group is going to merge into a big ball by the end of it's not being affected by the outward expansion of the universe.
Not at this
Well, there's
point.
some computer simulations of what's going to happen. And because the main item in space is space, there won't be a whole lot of collisions between stars. Mainly they'll come by each other and distort their orbits. And it's a big swirling mess that will finally reorganize itself.
Now, the simulation that Bruce is talking about, a lot of universities do simulations of what the collisions will be like. The one that I saw shows from the Earth's perspective, it shows in a very rapid way what the collision will be like. And it shows the Earth first going toward the nucleus of the new galaxy and then being flung completely out of the new galaxy so that we become a solar system between between galaxies. We wouldn't be part of either galaxy after that.
Would be a rogue planet.
Rogue galaxy.
Yes, rogue solar system. The sun, they'd stay. But in 5 billion years from now, the sun will have expanded and it will boil off the Earth's ocean. So by the time what's left of the Earth will be blown out of the galaxy, but we will not be on it.
Are some of the very distant galaxies that Hubble took in that deep field, they're so far away, they're over 13 billion light years, that technically in relation to us, they are going faster than the speed of light away from us? Is that true?
They appear to be that way, yes.
Wow.
Well, they know that, the things you're seeing here
It is. There's
They
the
were
deep field.
13 billion light years away at the time the light was emitted. They're now
Yeah.
about 45 billion light years away from us.
Right. So the fact is that nothing can go faster than the speed of light in this universe, but the universe itself can expand faster than the speed of light. And
Big
it can-
fabric, yeah.
Yeah, and it can take things with it.
But since that light we're looking at in that deep field photo is from the early, not far after the Big Bang, we're
Right.
looking at it as it was a lot closer. It's even further out now, technically today, in the light we can't see. Can computers generate how everything would look today? It would be gone, wouldn't it?
You can
Well, if
figure
it's
that out. Yeah.
expanding, if
What?
it's expanded faster than the speed of light, you can't see it anymore.
Well, we're looking
No,
at
but
old
that you
light.
can still simulate what the computer can show you where the things are that you can't see.
Oh, yeah, certainly,
Yeah.
certainly.
Yeah. So the answer to your question is yes.
Okay, and they have computer generated looking at the sky as it would look right now, the one we look at night,
Yeah.
where Orion really would be. It would be over here, Polaris is
Well,
not the North Star.
Orion wouldn't be recognizable. The constellations would all fly apart because they're just cars passing on the freeway, so to speak. Where they all are now would be a completely crazy looking pattern to us.
Wow.
But no one will ever see that anyway. So
Is that Tim? It looks like.
there's Tim grinding a
Yeah.
mirror
Grinding.
at one of our
The never ending
public
grinding
outreaches.
party.
Yeah,
Why isn't he here?
he was there yesterday. He was here.
Oh, okay.
He sometimes shows up here.
He was on board the podcast, the Monday podcast?
Yeah. No, he was on sending messages, questions for us to answer,
Oh, okay.
but he didn't join the Zoom meeting.
So
And
there's some mirror testing going on in that picture.
Yeah, he's got a ways to go with that.
Uh-huh.
uh,
But he got the light control working, looks like better. If he's got the new rig on it.
Those are old photos. of
Oh,
some
those
sort.
are old. Okay, so we don't have the new light thing.
Just trying to show Patty some of our, what an outreach
we-
event might be like.
We actually are part of the Santa Barbara Museum of Natural History. We do the public outreach for astronomy for them.
So that's is that a little solar scope? It looks like.
Yeah, yep, that was a
Okay.
PST,
Uh,
Coronado
was a-
PST,
okay.
personal
Yeah.
solar,
PST,
personal solar telescope.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice to see the prominences on the sun. That's,
Oh, yeah, that would be
I
pretty.
think they sell these for about $800, I think.
Hmm.
Okay, let's see, where else are we going here?
Oh.
Any other comments to be made here, coming up to 9 o'clock?
I'll just say one thing. I was watching the local news the other night and they did a story about Westmont having their first outside in the big field graduation. And everybody was in their cap and gowns. And you know what they focused in on right at the beginning? Where we used to meet on the, I think, third Fridays of every month. There was the Westmont
Oh,
Observatory.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right there behind them on the edge of that field. I don't recall. I recognized it by the sweeping ladder, that's the steps that go around the edge. But it's a two-story observatory, but
The helix.
brought back memories. Been fascinating. Nice to meet you, gentlemen, and nice
Yeah.
to have you on board, Patty.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you.
Hey, can I show people the syllabus for the event, online event for telescope making?
Sure,
Sure.
yeah, good.
Okay. Let me just. Okay, hold a second. Here it is here, the Portland LAS workshop. So it's going to be at night. It's free. So it's on for several nights, and you can see that they're going to talk about very fast optics, the making of it. Let's see here. So it starts Wednesday and it goes on till Saturday. Let's see, on
Is this
Friday.
online or something?
It's online. It's a Zoom thing, and they're going to send out the link, and I'm sure they don't mind other people looking at it. Let's see, on Friday, they're talking about very
F26.
yeah, right. And also
Stuff.
Richard Berry is going to give a talk on his unistellar EV scope, which he's been doing real science with. It's kind of interesting how that little tiny telescope is being used all over the world for doing some observations, like the Los Cumbres Observatory, where you put together a bunch of telescopes and look at something for a long time continuously. So let's see, and at the bottom, somebody's going to talk about an 800 millimeter. So that's what, about 36 inches or something like that? I don't know. So these people are into making.
There is a
telescopes.
36 inch at the very bottom of your thing there.
Oh yeah,
Direct
F4.
drive telescope. That's very interesting.
And there's a 40-inch f3.3.
Oh yeah.
Is that
Moving
36 inch F4? Is it direct drive? You think that'd be the Astrophysics? Is that the company that came
No,
out with
it's
those?
No,
plane
no,
wave.
no.
Plane
Scitech-
wave, plane wave.
No, well, actually, SciTech makes the this drive. It's a kit. The Misu I have uses the ones that's designed for motors and gears and stuff like that. This is no gears at all. It's using magnets and coils
Right.
to move it. And so they've been selling these, and I guess they're going to talk about somebody actually probably building a telescope using that the drive.
Yeah.
But I thought it was, it's kind of interesting, since some of us like making telescopes.
Yeah.
And
But you
here's the
can
thing.
buy them ready made from Plane Wave.
Oh yeah, for a lot of money.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
a lot of money.
So
You have to
one of
sell
the-
your house to do that.
well, another thing too is you better have a lot of money for electrical power, because unlike other telescopes, direct drive telescopes use a lot of power,
Mhm.
to generate the accuracy, because there's no mechanical multiplication. It's all direct drive.
So if I used one of these out at a campground, I could just watch my batteries suck in and shrivel up.
Yeah,
Yeah, they last about 20 minutes.
yeah. I mean, I think they use about several hundred watts at least,
Oh my. Wow.
as opposed to what, a couple watts, maybe 5 watts at the most, that most of our telescopes use. So
Mine,
My telescope setup uses 31 watts.
yeah, mine uses 24. When it's tracking, when it's slewing, it'll go up to 30.
Oh yeah. Well, this is the whole amount, the heaters,
Yeah.
the drive, everything.
Have you got an Atlas Pro, don't you?
Yes,
Yeah, I love that mount. It's a good one.
I do. It's very quiet, and
Nice.
if I get it aligned properly, it is spot on. It just
Me
goes to where I
too.
asked it to go to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Same thing.
Okay.
So Mike, there's going to be the live stream of what's going on there on YouTube.
okay, you found it. Okay, great.
Cloudy nights. That could be interesting.
It could
Coming
be,
up-
especially if they talk about how they make such fast optics, which is really, really hard to do.
The challenge.
Oh, it is. I mean, some people have started projects and not been able to complete it. Like, I don't know about that group 40, I mean, group 70, which had a 70-inch mirror, and it was like years in making. And I don't even know if they got done with the mirror or not. So
Okay.
anyways,
Another question, gentlemen?
Sure.
If you didn't have the tracker and you're zeroed in on a star or something, and the Earth is turning, I guess where we are, 600 miles an hour, how long would you be able to see it without the tracker?
Depends on what magnification your eyepiece is.
Oh,
If it's real wide field, you could watch it for quite a while. If it's a high magnification field, say 300x or something,
yeah.
you're just going to see it go right across your field of view like that.
Charles Schuler has that new 20-inch scope, and we go up to West Camino Cielo. We got fired out this time, but he bought a equatorial platform for it because he was having that problem too. He has wonderful knowledge of the night sky, and he can find things, and you can look in there, but you got to look quick.
Yeah.
Well, do you have the same problem when you're looking at the moon? Is that,
Yeah, everything.
Oh, yeah, everything. It's
Everything
the
with
Earth
it.
is turning.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And how far and how long would it turn until, as long as it's up there, clear down to the horizon if you didn't have a tree
Yeah,
in the way?
it turns 360 degrees in 24 hours. That's 15 degrees an hour.
Okay, but
Every day it does that.
the horizon, you're looking a little more through atmosphere, aren't you? And clouds.
Oh
and-
yeah, that's when it gets really wiggly.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, you just have a sweet spot in the top center of the sky.
Well, Patty, we're gonna want to report from you next Tuesday on how you're.
And all that, yes, yes.
Telescope.
right.
Well, nice to see you all here, and you too, Patty, welcome. But I'm going to leave the meeting now.
Yeah,
Me
it's
too.
time.
Me
Good
too.
night, everybody.
Good night,
Okay.
everybody.
Good.
Bye.
Good.
Thank you for being so welcoming.
You're
Bet.
quite welcome. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Great, thanks. I'll email you. Bye.
Bye-bye.